Hello everyone, it's Becky here and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to this new video which I was very excited to create because, as many of you know, I'm really not the person who would be reading too much of horror stories or spooky stories or scary stories, like not at all. But in the same time, I've been really enjoying recently to read books about magic and witchcraft and witches, and I thought that I would create a video about those books and I would say a little bit about the books which I already read, or also the books which I still have on my TBR and I really want to read at some point, and hopefully it will give you some inspiration for the books you can read in this spooky season as well. So without further ado, I'm just gonna start. I'm also gonna have chapters in this video, so please feel free to skip to any part or book you are interested in, and yeah, let's begin. So the first book I would really love to start with is this one called Highland by Susan Fletcher. Guys, this is such a wonderful book about magic, witchcraft, witches, nature, Scotland, spells, historical events that really happened, but also fictional characters who are still really believable and who are really amazing. And I also made a separated book review video about this one because if I really love some book, I used to do a separated book review video, so I will link it to the description down below. But if there is one book which I read this year and I truly love and I would recommend everyone to read, it's this one, because yeah, I love it so much. The main character here is Cari, who I must say became one of my most favorite literature characters so far. At the beginning of her story, we meet her in prison where she is awaiting her death because she was accused of witchcraft. And that's when Charles Leslie, the Irish reverend, will come to visit her because he wants to find out what happened at the massacre of Glencoe event, which is a real thing that happened, unfortunately. And because she is the only survivor of this massacre, she is the only one who can tell what happened. And she agrees to tell him, but in exchange that he will listen to her story, to story of her life, because that's the only way how she can be remembered. So through her talking, we discover how she used to live as a child, how her mother, who was also accused of witchcraft, tried to raise her up, and how she found her way to Highlands and how she befriended MacDonald clan, and just all the amazing adventures she experienced, also the love she experienced. So it's really beautiful, charming book, and I just highly recommend you to read because yeah, I love it. And it also has stunning cover, so please read this book. The second book is a little bit different, from different environment, but still stunning cover, absolutely beautiful, and I mentioned this book a couple times before. Little thick one, but still worth it to read. This is a book which is set mostly in a high school environment, so you could say it's a little bit of young adult reads, but it's the first book in the series, and although you know I'm not really keen to read many series, I am really excited for this one and for other books that are supposed to come from this series. And I need to warn you that there are some trigger warnings in this book, such as abuse or death or murder, but other than that, it's really great book if you can just dive into the story. So the main character is Anna, and she is this young teenager who is living with her quite abusive aunt, so that's already one thing, because her aunt is really abusing physically and mentally as well. And her aunt belongs to the coven of binders, who is this community or coven, you could say, of people who believe that magic is sin and needs to be banished or banned completely. And so Anna is not allowed to do any magic, although it's really part of her, but through this story she discovers how she is really not okay with becoming a binder. And while she joins secretly the coven in the high school with her friends who are also witches, as she finds out later on, she is also trying to find out what really happened to her parents and how they died and why. So it's truly interesting book with absolutely crazy plot and surprise at the end, which I really enjoyed reading, because since I'm not reading too much of fantasy, I do not come across these sort of surprises very much at the end of the stories. So this one was really like plot twist and I was like, oh my god. So really great book, highly recommend you to read. And also the characters are great. There is the character of Attis, don't know how to pronounce him, but it's something really great how the characters and whole magic systems are built. I really enjoyed it. Beautiful descriptions, and yeah, even inside you have these little parts at the beginning of every chapter. I hope you can see it. Yeah, like you have little illustration and then a little bit of some sort of verses from the witchy books or books of binders, to be exact to the story. So again, great book. I really highly recommend you to pick it up and give it a go. let's just talk about another book, which is called Once and Future Witches. I finished this book this summer, I believe it was August, and I had such a high expectation about this book because I read absolutely great reviews, but I must say I was quite disappointed, and I'm not quite sure why it was, because I think the story was really interesting. I had it as audiobook, and I must say that I really enjoyed the narrator, I really enjoyed how the story was written. I also enjoyed the bits of music they used to put there, although I know that some people did not like this concrete thing, but I did enjoy it. But then when it comes to story, I don't know what happened. It's just well, at the beginning, okay, I start with the beginning. So we have three sisters there who, after the death of their mother, separate for quite a long time, and throughout this story they need to find the way back to each other and help to each other through forgiveness and understanding, and yeah, just little detail that they are all witches. But at the beginning of the story they join a suffragette movement, which later on turns out to be the movement of witches actually. But I feel like the suffragette movement at the beginning and all these sort of other themes which are in the book mentioned kind of overtook the whole magic and witchcraft for me, and I did not even feel that like the spells or magic system would be something I would enjoy particularly. And also one thing was that I really felt like the events and places and characters were appearing out of nowhere, because I just did not know how somehow we found ourselves in one place with some other characters, and I'm like, okay, how did we get in here? So a little bit confusing for me. I don't know why. Maybe it was because it was audiobook, I don't know. But anyway, the story sounded really great, and I know that there are so many people who really enjoy this book, so I just wanted to mention it and maybe tell you go and read it, and then let me know in the comments if you like the book and what you thought of it, because I think it's really interesting story, interesting plot, but just did not work out for me. So if you read it, please let me know. Okay, and now I'm slowly moving to the books which are still on my TBR list, and they've been there for ages and I still want to read them, but I still did not have a chance, like this one for example, which is the book which I mentioned in one video previously, and it's called The Secret History of Witches by Louisa Morgan. Stunning cover. I absolutely love how the premise of the book sounds, but as I said, I just did not have time to read it, but I really hope that I could get to it in this spooky season, this Halloween season. And the premise of the story is that we follow 5 generations of witches, and at the beginning when the eldest one, or the woman from the first generation called Ursula, I believe, when she dies, it seems like magic and spells are slowly fading away, or they are dying with her. So the other generations of witches trying to still practice the spells and practice the magic so it's not forgotten, but it's not working apparently as they hope it would. But then when the Second World War hits, it seems like the world is going to need magic more than ever. So that's all I know about this book, and it sounds really good, and I'm really interested about how they combine the witchcraft, magic and Second World War. I really would love to know. So if you read the book, let me know if it's good, and I'm very excited to read it soon. Another book I have on my list, oh, I think the sun is really appearing on my face right now, but never mind, I love the sun, so excuse this, but yeah, never mind, shades. Well, anyway, another book I have on my list is called The Nature of Witches, which I do not have a physical copy of, but I have it as an ebook already, and I'm very excited to read it because the main character, called Claire, has her special powers and magic and witchcraft tied up to seasons in the year. So every time when there is different seasons, such as winter or summer, her power changes, and there are also different events happening to her. So for example, in the autumn, it's when her power is really wild and strong, but it also causes her to lose some people she really loves and she cares about. Excuse me, son. She really cares about. Then, for example, in the winter, she needs to use her magic and her powers to sort of try to handle the catastrophe that can come with the weather. At least that's how I understood what is the story about. And then also, for example, in the spring, when everything is blooming, she also starts to fall in love, but she knows how dangerous it can be. And then in the summer, she needs to choose between the love and between what is right and what is dangerous, actually. So sounds really, really good, and I cannot wait to read this book, but I need to change the spot a little bit because I cannot see anything, so give me a moment and then I will mention 2 more books. Okay, it seems there are not many places where I could hide because the sun is just on my level, no matter if I'm more in front or the further in the back, so never mind, I'm just gonna be here. But anyway, another book I would really love to mention is called Virago's Book of Witches, which is the book I've been trying to get for months right now, but it seems that just there is not this book in our bookstores. I don't know why, so it seems I will have to try and get it online. But simply, this book is a collection of over 50 stories about magic, about witchcraft, about the history and traditions, about some folk tales from over 36 countries. So I mean, what else do you need when it comes to witchcraft and witches when you like reading about these sort of things? So that's the book I really would love to read. And then I have one bonus book with you, which I don't know how I'm gonna fit into the frame, but it's this one. And it's called Three Little Witches, which is the book written by Georgie Adams and Emily Bolen. And it's a book for children, very lovely book, which you should definitely read if you have little kids this spooky season, because it has really lovely illustrations, and it tells about the girls who are witches in their little school, and they are planning to organize a Halloween party, but some things are going wrong, as you can imagine. So a really, really lovely book to read, and yeah, I need to wrap up slowly. So that's it, my friends. I'm changing location all the time, somewhere here in this little corner, in this little spot of mine. I hope you did enjoy the video and that you found some books which are interesting for you and which you can read soon. Let me know if there is any particular book you are interested in, and I'm very happy to chat about it with you in the comments. Also, if you are new here and maybe you are considering to subscribe, please do so, because it would be lovely to have you here. And without the further ado, I will just let you go. I'm gonna use the sunglasses, and I will see you with another video very soon. Take care, bye!